Support for the show is brought to you by 100wattsandawire.com. There you can get a 100-watt ID, learn about operating events, and check out the gear in the shop. Plus, 100 Watts and a Wire is now on YouTube. See the show live Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central. Subscribe, click the bell, and give us a thumbs up. You can still take the show with you by subscribing wherever you get podcasts. And ICOM. Ham for the holidays. ICOM's new ID52A and the IC705 gives hours of fun and enjoyment working your favorite bands this holiday season. And LDG. LDG makes small, lightweight tuners ideal for portable and emergency operations. Some can operate on internal batteries for months of normal use, making them easy to carry, install, and use in the field. Visit ldgelectronics.com.
And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning. This is Steve, W7UDI. Glad to have you here. And looks like Christian's having kind of went off into the ether. So welcome to 100 Watts and a Wire. Glad to have you here. And looking forward to with the show. So let's see, where's so we'll just there we go, we're back, yay.
Oh Lord, don't do me like this. I was about to shut it down.
Damn Windows.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's totally Windows. It's not the program, it's actually the computer and the user. I'll blame myself for that. I don't know. Sometimes I hover. I was getting ready to add us both in. And, sometimes I hover on the PC and it'll just take it. It'll just bloop. And it took me away. So anyway, here we are. Good morning, everybody. It's Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel, as you see there. And Steve, W7UDI. I got to tell you, it is going to be 73 degrees here. We are in November.
Ooh. Nice.
And the first thing Steve told me was something about freezing his stones off. And I'm like, what? And what's your temperature?
32 degrees this morning. We're going to top out at 46. So
wow.
But it's going to be a sunny day. Not like last weekend. Last weekend was beautiful. Perfect time to be outside working and on the tower. And happy birthday, Steve.
Happy birthday, Steve. Oh, Steve, today's actually my birthday, Steve.
Ah, nice.
Good morning. Thank you.
Happy birthday, buddy. Mine was a couple weeks ago.
I know it. We were just, we are 39, nope, 29. I think it's 29. Yeah.
29 plus.
Plus a few. Thank you all. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ian. November.
Good morning, Ian.
For Charlie. He's one of our net control operators. Sunday evening, 7 o'clock. You can check in. And hello to all the 100 Watts of Wire audio listeners who take the show with you. I know that was a pretty interesting start to the show. And the video, they're saying, well, why did you add the video, dummy? If you wouldn't do the video, you wouldn't have these problems. But people are enjoying it nonetheless. So it's good to have two options. But I encourage you guys to pick us up and watch the show. You can actually see the show now on YouTube, which is fun. It's fun for me and Steve to get together Saturday mornings. There's actually a show that happens before the show. I kind of like that one too, Steve. We just sit and
we just kind of let it fly.
It's just we're talking, and it's not that it's dirty. There are probably a few curses thrown through there, but not at each other. And we're just it's the pre-show talk.
Yeah, the vernacular gets a little colorful. Let's put it that way.
Good morning, Alan. Alpha Bravo.
Morning, Al.
Alpha Sierra, morning to you. And Michael's here as well.
Hi,
Kilo
Mike.
Bravo 80 India Echo. It's nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by, guys. There's Ed Durant, our soda friend in Germany.
Hey, Ed. Morning. Afternoon to you.
DD5LP, good morning to you. We got Whiskey Charlie 6 Quebec. Good morning to you,
good morning,
sir. And let's see who else. We've got Steve stopping by to say hello. Yep, he came earlier. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Scorpios, you got to be careful with the Scorpios. Happy birthday. Mine was yesterday. All right, happy birthday, Tony. Belated. Kilo 4
Happy birthday,
X-ray.
Tony.
That's K4XSS. I think I said that right.
X-ray Sierra.
Tyler. Hello, Tyler.
Morning,
good
Tyler.
morning from Utah. Kilo Juliet 7, Mike Kilo Foxtrot is stopping by this morning. Good to see you. Okay. Wow, a lot of people there. Peter is in. Stolat, my Polish brother. Says happy birthday to me in Polish. Thank you so much. And Ken. Good morning, Ken. He says,
Hi,
good morning
Ken.
to both of you. I hope everybody's doing all right. What a wacky week. We're all just sitting around, and if this can be a distraction and away from the numbers game and all this stuff, this is a political free zone. So enjoy your stay here as we go. But good morning to you, Ken. It's just been such a wacky time that, it's just good to get away. I kind of pulled the plug. I don't know. And we're just at a time now. I don't think we can expect results anymore on the day of. Remember, you could get those, by the end of the night, you knew. I don't think there's so many people in the world now in this country that I think it's going to be impossible to get it like we used to get it at night. So I just went to bed early. I'm just, whatever, and just, what can you do? We were talking about that in the pre-show, and maybe that's, that was one of the topics is that, you can control what you can control, and then you can't control it. And then just let's go on and do something that's a little better, fun. Let's see. I think that's Brett. A happy birthday to me, Kilo X-Ray 4 Tango Quebec. But everybody, we're finding the common ground that we share together, which is radio. I don't think I've ever had a conversation about anything radio related that needed politics or anything controversial. This is a gathering of friends, and we go right to the thing that we share, which is our love of radio, and there doesn't need to be anything else. It's like that for me. I don't know. You can call me an old hippie if you want to, but I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to get riled up about it. Terry says, "Guten Morgen." I guess that's German, right?
Yes.
All right.
Guten
For our
Morgen.
German-speaking audience, we have an interpreter there. Terry, good morning. What's Ian say? He said the net is on 7280. Oh, he's teaching. He's in the chat room teaching us. He usually kicks things off. He's in Georgia, and we start at 7 o'clock Central for our friends who like to check in. If you've been working during the weekend, and we all have that. We're going to talk about that today, actually, our fall projects with ham radio, and we'll talk about that. But you do a lot of work on Saturday and when you can on Sunday, and then we get together and we kind of check the progress together, 7 o'clock Central Time. So you're welcome to join us there as well. Dan says, good morning. He's from Iowa, Kilo Zero
morning, Dan.
Whiskey, Oscar, India. Good morning to you, Dan. And Steve, November 4, Sierra Foxtrot Charlie. Don't know where Steve is, but I'm glad you came by. What's Jason saying this morning? Jason, good morning, all. This is Jason, Kilo Echo Zero, India Alpha Victor from Des Moines, watching this, and the Nashua Area Radio Society Ham Boot Camp. Oh,
Nice.
Ham Boot Camp. That sounds fun. Maybe we should go over there, Steve. Pack this one down. I'm going to go see what boot camp's all about. But we get together Saturday mornings, 10 o'clock here Central Time. We're in the Heartland, a little earlier out there for Steve, but his pups wake him up, make him get out there and do all that. Let's see here. Happy birthday from Michael. Thank you. Kilo Bravo 2, Oscar India Echo. Another trip around the sun today, fellas. Yeah. Uh-oh. Ian is very chatty today. He says, I don't know, C Child, do you venture into conversations about the ARRL from time to time? Actually, that's a great segue. I should probably get into it. Do you know what I did, Steve? I actually, he just reminded me that I wanted to chat about that. And what I've done, it was time for my ARRL membership renewal. And you know what? It lapsed. It totally lapsed for me. It was October. And, this is one of those things. And we have like a sustaining membership program that we have. You give $25 for a year. You can actually use it like a coupon book and get discounts from participating businesses. So that's a 100 watts and a wire membership type of deal. You can learn more about that online. But the ARRL, they would send me for weeks on end, almost every week. And I would say, why do they keep sending me these things? Like, I know my membership. And it would be week after week. And it'd be like, hello, you know what's due, and I'm like, so part of me, I go back and forth, and I know there's some lifetime. I've got really good friends, and I think Steve's one of them who probably has a lifetime membership to the league. And you were smart. You paid a lot of money up front, and you didn't have to pay it ever again. And now our prices are $50 a year. And I go back and forth, and I've talked about it on the show before, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, and what are the benefits? And then we've got, the magazine. See, the thing for me, the magazine and the book, I usually get a book with it, and that's cool. And you get the magazine subscription, and then you never really get back into knowing what's going on, and in recent years, they've had a lot of changes. And I was just like, I don't know. And then I think, well, in order for me to speak about them in this platform, I should at least be a member. It's kind of like voting, if you're not going to vote, then why are you sharing your opinion? And I'm like, okay, then I'll always.
Why are you complaining? Basically, yeah. If you have a problem with the league or whatever, and just like everything else, if you're not part of it to be part of the change, then basically my attitude is you really don't have any say so.
Yeah, it gives you. I know I'm not buying in to have a right, but it makes sense for me to have to, if I pay. But I feel like now. And it gets complicated. We've talked about it in the past. Some of the things that they fight for the FCC, like they're our only voice. And this isn't a commercial for or against. But I feel like in recent times, maybe even the last year, we've been, we've lost some stuff. And I don't even know exactly what it is, but I believe it was something from the 80-meter ban. We lost a portion of it, right? So this is how much I'm paying attention. I should be paying attention more.
Here recently, we lost the 3 gig band, which is going to be part of the 5G network that's being built up. So we did lose an amateur band, and it's getting sunsetted, and the league fought for it. And then the latest thing is the fees that are going to be implemented on our licensing. So I think what you're thinking on the 80 meter is it's kind of rejiggering basically the band plan and kind of going back and kind of the ARRL is recommending to the FCC saying, hey, why don't we take this bottom 15 or 50 kilohertz of the extra voice portion and make it a digital portion. And years ago, it wasn't voice, it was CW. And so me, I have no issue with it.
Right.
But there are people that are having issue. And so mainly this is something that is being perceived by by people out here as that the board is doing, but the board is, they have a committee and they're going over that. So, and that's where it comes into, if you're a member, you can have input. You have more input than say someone who's not. Your director in your area will listen to you more, and then he will or she with someone that's a non-member. They'll kind of take it under advisement, but it's like, well, So there's it. Being a member of the league is means different things to different people. For it's the magazines, the publications. ARRL is a great publication entity. There's lots of good manuals and good information, and it's cheap. Look at the handbook. For all the information that's in there, it is cheap, and it's a great resource for looking up things. And so that's what I use it for. It's a great resource. And and
I keep a lot of the old periodicals around, and a lot of that information and that science hasn't changed considerably. And it is a great resource. And I ended up renewing. I just didn't know. I knew that it was someday in late October, and I got the thing in the mail, and I had already done it online. I went back and probably around Halloween, but I think it ended a couple of days before Halloween or something, like the 28th. And I always know it's the end of the year. Anyway, I renewed, and I always come back to, if you want to talk about it, it makes sense that you're a member. It just makes sense for me. That's
the way I look at it. I think it's, it's our voice, our national voice. Is the ARRL perfect? No. But is any other organization perfect? No.
Yeah.
So it's the organization is us, the members. And so if we want to make it perfect, then we got to be perfect, but that's not going to happen.
No, you just have to be engaged. And, I don't do the politics on this stuff.
Right
but
on
it. No, there's no politician that's perfect either. You know what I mean? So it is, and they are supposed to represent us. That house is of the people. And with the ARRL, it's similar. It's a similar thing. Like, I want to at least have a vote. So I renewed. I did not like the price tag, though. I got to say, $50, man. 50 ducats is a little steep, but I get it. I think it was like 40 something last year.
39 or $40.
I'm not trying to crap on the league. I just wanted to let everybody know I let it lapse. And I think that they could be struggling a little bit now because of, what's going on. We have a pandemic going on in the world and things are, money's tight. And if you have some money, you might be holding on to it. You may not be paying attention to your memberships, frankly. And I just kind of knew mine was coming up. I think I got one reminder in the mail, and it's a different day. It's just like that. It wasn't a personal, I'm not going to do it. I can say the time around Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, I was a little salty with the league for kind of how that rolled out. But being a member, I felt I could talk about it and encourage the league to come on the show at any time. Mm-hmm. Let's just talk about it. Exactly. And then changes have happened since, in that regard. So I'm okay. I just thought I would share that with you. So good morning to some other folks. Before we get into some of our fall stuff, good morning to Lou, November 9, Lima Tango Whiskey.
Well, Ed gave us a reminder. The SFI is up. He said 94. I see on the QRZ website it's 93. It looks like 15 meters is going to be open up, and then there's a big contest on 40 meters, as Ed was pointing out. So good weekend to be on the radio. So
sure. So get those chores done.
Get your chores done and winterize things.
Speaking of the lead, Lloyd here, he's a member of our group, Kilo Charlie 5, Foxtrot Mike. He's actually running for, I think it's the Missouri section manager. I get sketchy on all that, but good luck to you, Lloyd. And appreciate the birthday wishes and stopping by. Here's Wes. Now, Wes, I just sort of indirectly met Wes. He's got a YouTube channel, and he drives trucks around the country, and he's a ham. And I was like, I love that perspective. I think that's a really cool, ham on the road. It sounds like a Paul McCartney and Wings song. Ham on the road. Ding, 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 ding. That's your new theme song, Wes. But I think what an interesting perspective. So if we can collaborate and talk to Wes and see what he's doing out there on the road, what are those challenges that face a guy driving a big truck for a living all over the place? And I've heard stories of folks who either RVs or tour buses. I think Bob Heil, K9EID, tells a story of Joe Walsh, or Joe Walsh tells a story about, putting the antennas on the back of the tour buses and going through the tolls and ping. So
whacking out the lights and stuff like that. So.
And there goes another one. So, trying to hear about those stories, really cool. Maybe we can get Wes to join us one morning. Good morning also to Lou. The new ARRL antenna book is great. They always are. You're right, Steve. ARRL is the best and biggest voice we have. I agree with both of you guys on that, and especially with the antenna book. I love the antenna book. It was one of the best I think I have volume 15. It's right here to my right. If I can get it. It's in the middle of a big pile of books, but right down here, and it lives here. I've got a bottom shelf of books, all amateur radio related, and it's a great resource to dip back into. Speaking of antennas, we got to give one away. Last week we started. We're going to do that in just a little bit. But we had like 15, it was like 24, 25 people put their call signs in. Don't do it yet, guys. I want you to be here to be eligible. It's a little incentive for folks that watch us in real time. But courtesy of LDG Electronics, they're going to sponsor 12 weeks of antenna giveaways. This week we're going to give away the dipole from last week's announcement. And then this week we got a few other options. So what we'll do, we'll take a little break, about 30 seconds. We'll come back and then we'll talk about our antenna options. We got all kinds of work and stuff we've been doing. Steve's been up on the tower. I'm interested to see what's going on there. Stay with us. We'll come back in 30 seconds.
The Kilo station again? Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. You're 5'9". Right.
ICOM's newest handheld amateur radio is the ID52A. It's a larger radio, larger color display, and louder audio. This VHF-UHF digital transceiver is much more than a replacement for the ID51A, but it's a new way of communicating. The color display is 2.3 inches for exceptional viewability, and the audio is 80% louder. This multifunction dual-band D-Star transceiver supports DR mode for easy access to local repeaters based on internal GPS information, as well as terminal and access point modes. The ID52A also has Bluetooth for audio and data control, providing improved mobility and control. Visit ICOMAmerica.com for more information.
In a land where we're all 20 over, this is 100 watts and a wire.
Okay, so 3 months of antenna giveaways. Really cool thing. It's just a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I encourage you guys to join us on the Facebook group. We do have a really active Facebook group there. But now we're new to YouTube, so I'd love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the bell. It lets you know when things are planned like this. We're doing this Saturdays at 10 o'clock Central Time. We'd love to have you. Your voice is important. One thing about the audio show, before doing that, it would be me in the studio, or maybe I'd have Steve there, but it's kind of a one-way transmission. And doing it this way on the YouTube platform gives us an opportunity to hear from you in real time, which is really cool. And we've got listeners and viewers in Iraq and Germany and Russia and all these wonderful places that we think about and we spin the globe, but they're actually joining us here. So what we did last week, and we will do that again here shortly, but hang tight with us. We're going to talk about some projects first, but I do want to give last week's antenna away. We decided on a dipole, simple dipole, cut for 40 meters. You could cut it back to 20 or 10. You know, you're going to get all the things you need, the insulators, the balun, and if you can't use it, just give it to somebody who's new and maybe somebody who could do it. Everybody could use a dipole.
Oh, yeah.
And do some tests with it, with all these antennas. I want to see how it turns out. I mean, you move it, put the dipole up 25 feet, you're going to get a different reading than if it's at 35 feet. So play around and have fun. So the way we do this is everybody who put their call sign in the chat got a number. And then it got mixed up. And then I had my oldest daughter. She came in. She's 10. Doesn't know you, your call sign, or the number. Pulled it out. And so number 17 matched up with Whiskey Mike. Let's see. I got a thing here. Graphic for it. Whiskey Mike 8 Bravo. His name is Mark.
Nice. Congratulations, Mark.
Congratulations to Mark. That's for last week. We're going to pick another winner. In just a little bit, we'll put your names in, and we got a couple other antennas to give away. Mark, if you're in the chat this week or watching this on YouTube, drop me a line. I'll get your information. If not, we can pull it from QRZ and send out your antenna. But real quick, if you need that, and if you're in here, you can send that information to the email address on your screen. So, Steve, now we've got some options. We could... Nice. We got the dipole. We probably will go away from a dipole. We have a G5 RV dipole that we could send out to somebody. We have an off-center fed dipole. We have an end-fed that we could send out. We have a 40-meter loop. This is the one for me. I'm like, oh, man, 40-meter loop. Nice. That's a nice, it's like $130. If you buy it commercial, you're going to give it away. Or a flagpole vertical. And I think about our brothers that are in HOAs, and I think of And that's 80 through 10 or 10 through 80, however you want to look at it. But a flagpole vertical, I'm just curious to see how that one plays. And
yeah, no kidding.
so what do you want to do? Maybe we could ask the people here. But Steve, what are you leaning toward out of all that? A dipole, of course, we know is your basic hard
basic antenna.
Dipole. And so we got some other options out there. What's your gut telling you this week we should give away?
The G5 RV. That's good popular antenna. Works well on all bands and 40 and up. So it'd be a good one.
Good deal.
Yeah,
all right,
let's go with that.
We'll do that. And our winner again, in case you didn't see it, it's Mark Whiskey Mike 8 Bravo. So very good. Okay, there you go. Our first winner. We're going to do this for 3 months. So that's 12 weeks of great stuff. Now we're going to switch gears and get into some projects. I have been working on a couple of things that are much smaller, and we're talking about fall projects here. And when the fall and the cold weather hits, we start to, if nothing else, we're nudged to get your ass out there and get it done. Or you're like me, it's part of that. And of course, yard work, whatever. But, I start to look up after the leaves fall and I look at the dead wood. You can kind of see dead wood. And I had a situation a couple of weeks ago when the leaves started to drop where I could tell the limb I was over, the tip of it was dead. So the last probably 6 feet, and I was right there on the cusp. And I was like, I love that limb. The limb is great, but I ended up having to move it over. So I got the old fishing pole out. I didn't talk about this at the time, but I moved it. It was easy enough. I got up over the thing. It's about 50 feet. I use a fishing pole, and these heavier washers work really well for me, and about a 10-pound test line. So when you got to pull the wire or the rope back over, your line doesn't snap. I spent many a days, cuss words I never even knew. I made up some cuss words because I went over with a really thin line and tried to pull over some 4 mil or some sort of whatever heavy thing, and I'd get up over that snap and lose them both. And I said curses that, and it hurts your feelings, man. It just hurts your feelings when you lose it.
Now, you casting the line up and over?
Yeah, I modified an old bay rod. This is my way. I found an old bay rod. I mean, they're huge. They're for out being on the boats and getting out there far, these huge reels. And so I cut it almost in half. So it's probably like 4 feet long, and I can zip it up there. And it took me a lot, but I've gotten much better in recent years because I've got so much, it looked like a Christmas tree with tinsel, so much broken fishing line and lures and bolts. I got things hanging in the trees. This was years ago, and I was like, I'm going to get killed here, man. I'm making such a mess. But I got better, and that's how I do it. But that was one of my projects, was just moving it about 6 feet back this way toward the tree, because that dead end is going to come down. And I could see with the leaves, you can just see more. And that's what I've been working on. And I've got some rope work to do. I noticed that one of the old ropes that I have up is starting to fray.
It's a good time to replace it. Yeah.
I know it's going to be, and the rope is cheap, guys. In terms of like making a repair, it's going to serve you much better than, just change it out. That's kind of where I am. And it depends on the rope you buy. I love the Mastrant rope, especially for my center. This one was your regular paracord, whatever they call that, 500, and it's good stuff. Now, it's also a little flexible. The Mastrant rope that I like to buy, and I'll spend a little more on that, costs a little more, but it doesn't stretch.
No, it's pretty, and it's kind of stiff for what it is.
Yeah,
but it's a great rope.
I think stiff is good in this term because I think your things can change. Am I right, or am I just thinking wrong? That if your rope is sort of flexible on your ends, your SWR might change, your readings may. Is that wrong, or just? I'm okay. Wrong. Am I just thinking the wrong way?
I mean, if you got some flex in there, it will, as the branches move. But I don't like having everything banjo string tight because
True.
the wire is going to give before the tree branch is. But I think it's a much stronger rope as far as taking abrasion, because now you got this rope that's going over a branch. And
Right.
so I had
true.
this white rope that I had up for 10 years. I couldn't believe it. It lasted that long, but it basically it just got wore out as it went over the branch, and it held up.
Trees move, trees do move. And I use window sashes, or these window weights. I call them window weights, but sashes. And they used them in the old days. When you lift a window, they'd have big weights on them, and they go up and down. And so they're on the end of my antennas. I made this mistake. You talked about a banjo string. I tied everything off without any kind of flex. People use buckets of stones, or
even some cement, anything.
Just something so when the wind blows and that tree moves, that you've got a little bit of play in your line. Or if a branch, in my case, happens, comes down, hits the line, it'll go up a couple of feet at least before it'll just snap away, so that's that. So anywho, that's kind of what I've been working on and what I look for in the fall. I do some taping, retaping connectors, and I do a little bit of testing, but this is just maintenance stuff that would happen on almost any given season. But what you've been working on was not maintenance. Well, I guess you could call it maintenance, but you had a plan. You were going in, you probably had some expense with it. Maybe you could talk about your project, but let's get you started here and tell us what you've been doing, because it has to deal with towers and things that are sexy.
Yeah. So here, let me come over to here.
Okay. There's some other.
All right. So we'll go over to this screen and move you out. I got to move you out of the way.
Your full screen here.
Perfect. So there we go. So I had an antenna project, and I didn't want to climb the tower a bunch of times because got to take down the old to put up the new. And so I went out and rented a man lift, and I'll tell you, it's money well spent. Pricey, but in the end, it's a back saver. It is much safer. And this old guy is, I'll climb the tower, but if I don't have to, I won't. And so this is an 85-foot man lift that I have out in the field. So we got started, and so after I removed the antenna, the old antenna is kind of laying that way a little bit. Or is that the new one? That one's on the sawhorse. So got the old one down, and so we now have the bare mast up on top, and it was a great weekend last weekend to do all this work. Temperature wise, it was perfect, and fall is like a good time to start doing this. You're not just getting yourself beat up in the summertime. So then after I got the new antenna up, the old antenna was a high gain TH6 on a 24-foot boom, and this is a KT36XA on a 32-foot boom. So it was a little challenging getting it up with the lift, and then getting past all the guy wires, and but it worked out pretty good. I did a little filming. I mounted a GoPro style camera on one of my climbing helmets, and in the process, and I didn't know, that's one of the problems when you have something mounted on your helmet, is that the camera tilted down, so it was basically filming my feet. It wasn't until I reviewed the video that it was like, So I had every intention to bring you up along with me as we were doing the projects, but it just didn't work out. So here's the final product of the change out. So this was before bringing up the feed line, and so I changed my feed line, and I brought up a half-inch coax LDF4, and we talked about the ceiling part. So here we have the half-inch right here, and then this is the pigtail that's going up to the antenna. So the way I seal and the way we do it in the work environment, we do it's a 3-step process. So this piece right here, this is 88 tape, like we talked about last week, that I got at Home Depot, and what we normally do is we put down a layer over everything right here, and the whole purpose is just because we get back into these connections to disconnect or troubleshoot. When you use kind of a mastic or aqua seal, as we call it, it's a really sticky, it gets on your connectors, and it really is a pain in the butt to clear it and get rid of it when you have to get back into the connector. All this layer is doing is just providing a barrier between the connector and your sealing tape. And this is what I use, another product that I just found at Home Depot. And the whole purpose of this, what I was doing, was to show that we can get material. You don't have to go buy some special coax seal or whatever. You can go down to your local big box store and find this product and use it. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and it's like, yeah, I could have used some other stuff and go from there. But nope, we're gonna go, and so I want to use it just like you would use it. So this is 2228. It's a kind of a sealing tape, and so it's a rubberized insulation tape. It will kind of form into one big blob over time with heat and everything. So that's what we're using on that point. So, and it just kind of, I cut off about a 3-foot length, and it's has this paper backing, and I just turned around and started wrapping it up from the bottom. That's the way I tape things up, all the way up to the top. And then this is the final product. Well, some people can go, hey, we're just going to stop there. Nope, they don't stop here. This is step 2. So this is all done, and my neighbor's doing a burn pile. And what I found is that if you leave this like this, the birds will pick at it because it's kind of soft, and they like to use it for, I guess, nesting material. Who knows? But they pick at it. But we finished it off with 3 layers of the 88 tape, and so we ended up sealing it all up, and then eventually it was all tied off and secured to the tower leg. And what else do I have here? And there's the finished product. So that was basically last weekend. I got it all done on Sunday and was finishing up. I wasn't able to make the net last week because I was trying to get it all done. We had the time change, and that turned around, and it impacted me as far as daylight, and so it worked out pretty good. And I got to finally use it just the other night. This week has been busy, how life interferes into our hobby here. And I finally got a chance to try it out yesterday, late afternoon. And boy, it was well worth all the effort there. So
I love how you say, my neighbor's burning a pile of leaves, and he's a mile from you. They see him over there. He's sending a message. Wait. Need more marshmallow. Okay, he's fine. He's a country mile away. And folks were saying how you're giving us antenna porn up there. So let's see. Here's Ian says, "Nice, Steve. You're giving us all antenna envy." But hey, I can understand the workload. You paid a lot of money for that. That piece. Ken says, I have a 50-foot tower to install, and I was thinking of using a man lift to put it up. Seems faster. Kilo Echo 8, Hotel Zulu. Zulu, would you recommend that, Steve?
Oh, God, yeah. Actually, this tower was stacked with a man lift. It just, between the two of us, we stacked it in a couple hours and all ready to go. And the antenna put up. So if you can use a man lift, use it. You can use a crane, use it. But I have, fortunately enough, this rental outfit allowed me to have this man lift all weekend. They delivered it on a Friday and picked it up on a Monday morning. And
you didn't have to pull it through town. That's great, man.
No, it's, there's the delivery charge, but I had 8 hours of engine time on it. So once you get up elevated, you just turn off the motor and you're there. And but it took me about an hour, and I did all this by myself. Unfortunately, my son, who was going to help me, had to work. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do it. And I'll use some of the tricks of the trades. And I was able to have it done in under 2 hours of runtime. It took me about an hour to bring down the first one, getting used to the controls of the lift and trying to position it. I had to reposition it a few times, and then because I guy wires I got to deal with, and if it's a freestanding piece of cake. Then I got the old antenna down, and then brought up the new one, and kind of figured out, okay, this is what I need to do with the new one versus when I brought down the old one, and then put it up there, and it worked out pretty good, and got it in place. And then the rest of it was, easy peasy. But if you can use a man lift, that's the way to go. I mean, it's so much safer. And this one was a 2-man bucket. So if there's 2 of you can go up, that even better. And so do it. In the long run, it saves you money. And then on top of it, what I got to do afterwards is like, oh shoot, I got all this time left. Mm-hmm. I went and trimmed some trees around the house. Yeah. So I had some second story windows that my wife's going, can you wash the windows outside? It's like, okay. So perfect. It worked out pretty good. Trimmed some trees and had some second story outdoor lights that needed to be replaced from incandescent to LEDs, and did that. And that way I didn't have to work off of a ladder. And there's all kinds of things you can do with it, even, outside of the tower work.
Well, stay with us. We're going to flip the record here. That's going to wrap up side 1 of our show today. When we come back, there's a couple questions here in the chat for Steve about his tower work. Give us 30 seconds. We'll come back and proceed with side 2. You're listening to 100 Watts in a Wire.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsindawire.com.